Okay, so we've just finished doing some practice on 4.2, solving multi-step linear equations. We did the first page, we did the second page. You guys did some practice. Make sure you can do these. I cannot tell you enough how important it is. Flip over. I have two more specialty type questions that I want to clue you in on how to handle these, and then we'll move on to the next idea. So let's take a look. So I'm going to call this 4.3, just because the next thing I'm about to do I think is 4.4. So we'll call it 4.4, and we'll call it clearing the fractions. Okay? So let's take a look at this question. This question says solve for x. Let's take a really good look at this question. It says solve for x. And I've got x here. I've got 3x divided by 10, and I've got x divided by 5, and they're being added, and I've got 7. Now, we can do this using grade 6, 7, 8 methods of fractions. It can be done with fractions. And what that would look like is this. You would take the 3x over 10 plus the x over 5 equals 7, and you would get a common denominator. The common denominator that you want is 10. So what you would do is you'd change this to 3x over 10. Well, actually, you don't change it at all. But you're going to change this 5 to 10. And you do that by multiplying the bottom by 2 to get 10. But if you multiply the bottom by 2, you multiply the top by 2. And you don't have to worry about doing anything to the other side, because all you're doing is you're messing with this fraction. You're making the bottom 2 times bigger, and so you make the top 2 times bigger. If I multiply the bottom by 2, I multiply the top by 2, and the fraction stays the same. The difference is what I've got now is 3x plus 2x over 10 equals 7. Now, since they have the same denominator, you can rewrite this as 3x plus 2x all over 10. Then it's a question like we've kind of seen before. What I would do for this question, though, to be honest with you, is put brackets around the top, so I know that the top's all one thing. I know that it's 3x plus 2x, which really means it's 5x, isn't it? There's 3 x's here, plus 2 more x's. This is really 5x. And I've got that whole thing being divided by 10. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply both sides by 10 to get rid of that bottom 10. And that's going to be 3x plus 2x equals 7 times 10, which is 70. My 3x plus 2x is 5x. And I want to get x by itself, so I divide both sides by 5. And I get 70 divided by 5, and I use a calculator to help me. And I get an answer of 14. And that's using grade 6, 7, and 8 fractions. And there's nothing wrong with doing it that way, except I think once you get the hang of doing it the way I'm about to tell you, it's going to be a little bit easier. Now, to be able to clear the fractions, what you do is you find out what the common denominator is, the lowest common denominator. The LCD is 10. You know that, and you had to know that to do this method anyway. So the LCD is 10 here, which means that if I multiply both sides by 10, I'm going to clear the fractions. Now that's really weird, but look at it. This is what happens. If I multiply this side by 10, it's the same as multiplying 3x over 10 by 10. And it's the same as multiplying x over 5 by 10. And it's the same as multiplying 7 by 10. So really, what I've done here is I've multiplied both sides of the equation, the left-hand side, which was the first term and the second term, by 10, and I've multiplied the right-hand side by 10. Does that make sense to everyone what I did? I've kept the equality, right? Because what I did to the left-hand side, I did to the right-hand side. Now what I'm going to do is reduce. This is 3x times 10 divided by 10. Well, if I'm going to multiply by 10 and then divide by 10, that's the same as not doing anything by 10. That make sense? This is 10 times x divided by 5. Well, how many 10s go into 5? Oh, sorry, let's put that the other way around. How many 5s are in 10? 2. So this will change to 2. It'll reduce. And 10 times 7 is 70. So I have a brand new question here, which is 3x over 1 plus 2x over 1 equals 70, which is exactly what I had here. The only difference is I've done it a lot faster, haven't I? And with a little bit of practice, a lot easier, I think. Now, you do have to practice it. This you're more comfortable with because you've seen this more often. This one is really slick. So you finish it off by 5x equals 70. X equals 70 divided by 5. X equals 14. And that's called clearing the fractions. This step right here was clearing the fractions. And what you do to clear the fractions is you multiply each term by the lowest common denominator and then reduce. What that does is gets rid of all the denominators. All the denominators will be gone. And that's seriously cool and seriously easy. All right? We're going to pause the video there and we'll be right back.